Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to this week's Unconventional Wisdom on Grief and Loss. This is session 32. So this is our 32nd session. My name is Delilah De La Rosa. I am the person that is receiving this unconventional wisdom on grief and loss. And to my side here is Steven Morrison. He's the creator of Spiritual Workout, the practice that really is the foundation for this unconventional wisdom on grief and loss. And he is also the author of An Extra Year, Grief and Loss in the New Age. And here we go. Here it is. Yeah, I was like, it should be here, but last time it wasn't here and it was here. So here it is, the book, An Extra Year, Grief and Loss in the New Age. Plenty of great material that also gives us a foundation for what we are receiving here. So thank you everyone for being here. Any and all non-physical entities, thank you for being here as well. We came up with these sessions after my mom's passing back in November of 2024. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in August, and 2.5 months later passed. Stephen and I had been working for quite a while. Well, first as my being a patient, participant for many years with Spiritual Workout. Yeah. And then back in 2018, we were working together and building this Spiritual Workout online.
By which she means she volunteered and assisted me for 5.5 years.
Yes. And still feel as though I'm very much part of the team. Anything that I can do to get the word out and just grow Spiritual Workout, expand it, get it out to the world as much as possible. And this is one of the projects, I feel. So yes, we started this back in January of 2025, last year, just to really utilize this practice to help me as I move through this grief and loss experience, which has proven to be one of the most challenging experiences that I've had to go through. And I'm still going through it. So with that said, how are you today, Stephen?
I'm quite well. Thank you for asking. And ready to talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's how this project rolls.
Yes. So I really called on you to see if we can squeeze a session in here. After, I think, 6 months or so of doing this last year, we were pretty much doing it every week. Once a week, every Wednesday at this time. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of continued on after that. But I would say after a year, the year marking after my mom's passing, that's when we kind of just started doing this as needed. And so, we'll probably do like once every 2 months, once a month kind of thing, it's as needed. And so our last one was 2 months ago, I believe. And I didn't realize it was that long ago, but okay. What we tended to do here is live a little, apply, align, live a little, apply, align, experience, right? Live a little, that kind of thing. And that's what I did. So in July, I'm bicoastal for those that are new here. I'm coastal between New York and LA, which is, fantastic. And I came back to New York after being spending pretty much the winter and spring out in LA back in like mid June. And July, last month, I felt like it was one of the first times since my mom's passing that I felt like I was really starting to create like a nice little flow, a routine that really served me. I was going back to weightlifting, that was going really well. I committed to doing an hour of storytelling, giving myself an hour at least to get back to creativity, giving that some, it felt like I was pouring into myself, and it was going really well. And I didn't feel, I have a history of fearful thinking, fearful beliefs that leads to like a bit of anxiety, in daily life. Um, and I didn't really feel that from what I can remember at all in July. Um, I would say I would like out of 10, I would give it like a 7, 8 out of 10 type of month for me. Um, uh, it just felt like, wow, this is really nice. Like I'm having really cool moments where I'm feeling strong and I'm feeling like I'm flowing, right? Like I felt like I was pouring into myself, and it was just a really nice experience to not at least consciously feel this inner tension that I've often, it's very familiar to me. This inner tension, it just really felt like I was flowing. Um, so last Monday, August, um, I woke up with what I'm coining as TDA, temporary debilitating anxiety, where I woke up with things, this anxious sensation in my body. I wasn't aware of any thoughts or anything upon waking. I woke up with this, racing heart, and I didn't want to get out of bed. And it really caught me off guard, really caught me by surprise. We always say here that things are not linear. um, and yet it just really caught me off guard because I was just da 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 da, flowing. And I woke up and it was just like that racing heart experience. And I was like, whoa. Now, it also coincided with the start of my period. So I know that there may have been some hormonal factors. Okay. And then I also, and it also, uh, well, the most relevant thing to this conversation is that I also realized that the month of August is when my mother's whole ordeal started back in 2024. So I was like, oh, okay, because that was very similar to how I was waking up when this whole thing started with my mom. The good news is that it would dissipate by the end of day. So like early evening, like when the day was done, I would not feel that tension in the solar plexus in my chest, my heart. Just that tension that, like I said, I didn't want to get out of bed. It was really hard to eat. And yeah, I was hungry. So it was just a mess during the day. And I was just like, all right, wow, okay, this really caught me off guard. Um, was not ready for that. And yet I was also happy to see that it would die down by evening time. Saturday, I woke up with the onset of like panic attack, and that was with a very heavy heart, sinking chest feeling. And the first time that I felt that was when everything started with my mom. Um, Back then, I didn't know what that was. I thought I was having possibly a stroke or a heart attack. So I went to the ER for it. So I knew, thankfully, this time around when I woke up, it felt very familiar. And I was just like, all right, this is really unpleasant, a little alarming because it's like, whoa. However, I know what to do. And Stephen, for everyone to know, we had talked about when I had talked to him in our general spiritual workout offerings and our drop in. I had mentioned how I was waking up last week, and he suggested that I do 20-minute EFT tapping blocks on any and all unconscious, subconscious resistance to living the life that I want. Because, you know, like I said, it's a debilitating type of sensation experience that makes me not want to do anything. And it just feels like I am dreading any kind of engagement in and with the world, you know? And so I went there on Saturday when I felt that. I did the 20 minutes, and I did some breath work, a little bit of stretching, and I did top it off with like a quarter Xanax. And that helped me move through the day. And it made me also aware of quite a couple of things. One, that I wasn't here last year in New York. I wasn't here in New York last year during August. So while I did feel a bit of a heaviness last year when I was in LA, I did feel a little bit of a heaviness. It didn't feel like how it felt here, being here where I was when everything started with my mom. And the humidity, the panorama in my house. I think the environment, just, you know, the calendar. That's another thing that we've talked about, that Stephen also talks about in an extra year. The calendar. It's like you're not expecting, you know, like, okay, this is the month that this happened, I'm gonna feel like shit, right? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm open. I'm like, whatever comes in my experience, whatever happens, if there's overlap with other people's experiences, if it is cliche or whatever, then so be it. But I'm not, you know, like, okay, at this time, you know, I'm gonna feel this, right? Like, I'm not doing any of that. However, the calendar can come up, and this calendar is like essentially anniversaries, where, like in Stephen in an extra year, how he mentioned that he was just feeling out of sorts and he just didn't understand why. And then he saw the calendar and was like, oh, this is around the time that this happened. And that explains. Yeah.
Yes. And the reason is because when it's happening, we're not really processing it, especially if we're the ones who are not the patient. We're the ones who are not dying or dead, right? So for most people in that situation with somebody else who's sick, whatever the course of events is going to be, we're usually not paying so much attention to ourselves. I process everything as it comes. But in a situation like that, where almost all the attention is focused outside, I was very conscious of the fact that I was doing that. And I knew I would get around to processing it at some point. But the
Mm-hmm.
reason that the calendar kind of creeps up on us like that, to your point, we're not thinking about it. But then it's like, oh, there seems to be some mechanism in us. And I've heard it from a lot of different people over time. So it wasn't just me and it's not just you. But I think that's really it. And tell me if that resonates. It's like, because you were focused on your mom, you were focused on taking care of 1,000
Oh,
things,
yeah.
right? So the part of you in dealing with your experience of what was happening, you didn't get to at the time. And that's a big part, I think, of why it catches up with us a year later.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. It felt like, while it wasn't the exact same sensation or physical experience that I
Right.
had back then, it still felt like that heaviness. The what I experience is a mix of grief, anxiety. So it's like my heart feels like it wants to cry, and yet also feels like that anxious sensation, like a bit tense.
Mm.
Um, I'm not sure if I'm mixing the two, but that's what it feels like to me. Um, and uh, it had me feeling a little, well, it actually, like, I noted that. I noted the calendar. I noted that, like, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. It's kind of reminiscent of how I felt back then.
Mm.
Um, and it also made me think about, just even before my mom's whole experience, how I already had that sort of outlook on life that I didn't want to have. But one where it started back in like 2018, of uh instead of like, what is the day gonna bring? It was like, oh my God, what is the day gonna bring? And that increased around 2020 pandemic time.
Mhm.
Um and it was starting the 2020s. It's like every year there's been losses, right? Pretty significant ones, for me and my loved ones. And on a micro level and on a macro level, it was just like, the 2020s has been quite an adventure, to say the least. Um, so many changes, um, worldwide changes,
Mhm.
and it just felt, um, like the daytime, I started to associate it with impending doom, like doom and gloom. Oh, what is this phone call? All of that. And I would say, like, in 2022, um, a resistance to living life, like things that didn't activate me, before. I was just so much more sensitive to it.
Mhm.
And after my mom's loss, and then also a year after my mom passing, my best friend's husband dies, um, a heart attack. It was pretty shocking. And it just had me, like, very tense, on top of already the tension that I was experiencing, that I was consciously aware of back in
Right.
2018. Um, So then I started thinking, reflecting on how much I've been holding this inner tension since childhood. Um, and I feel like I inherited it from my mom. And the feeling, I had a session with a practitioner about this, with another practitioner. I'm cheating on you. No, with another practitioner. You're all in the family. We're all in the family. We're all in the family. No scarce thinking here. The more the merrier. And I had a session with this other practitioner where, I was telling her about what I was experiencing recently. And we got to a place of, essentially bringing up some stuff from the past, from the childhood, that brought up the exact feeling that I've been feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that grief anxiety feeling, right? It's like that, like like kind of that tension on the verge of crying type of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom experienced her life in a very similar way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when she was pregnant with me, from what she's told me, from what I know, she had, it was like she was very happy with the pregnancy and happy, that she was pregnant and having a baby, but at the same time, it wasn't, my grandparents weren't big fans of it. So it was a conflicting type of experience. So it was like, here's something that could be joyous. She was in love with my father and all of that, but she also faced a huge amount of backlash, like disowning her, like my grandfather disowning her. Very no filter when it came to shaming my mother. And so it just dawned on me recently. Maybe not just dawned on me, but I just really felt it much more strongly how much my mom felt insecure.
And when did that happen? When you felt the same thing that you felt when you were a little kid? With the other
This past week.
past week.
Yeah, this past week. And then when I had this session, and we were just kind of going, back a little bit, and just kind of bringing this up, I was like, oh, wow, this is really hitting it. This is really hitting it. And so what came of it was this belief that I created, inherited, perhaps, that as you near joy, enjoyment, happiness in your life leads to doom and struggle. It's the foreboding joy, right? And there's that belief is not allowing me. It's producing that resistance,
Wait, happiness leads to, what did you say?
Doom and struggle, and it just, I felt, listen to inspiration. That's one of the concepts.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the exact sensation that really can limit me. That's what I felt when we got
So
there.
there you go. Do some tapping on the unconscious resistance and it leads to the next
Clarity.
practitioner session, and boom, there, yeah,
Clarity.
pretty big. It's pretty big.
Yeah. And it also made me a bit sad because um there's that little there was that little bit of like feeling, I guess, it felt more like sympathy or maybe a compassion um over my mom's experience. Like like I was just like, oh my god, like when I thought about, and I could never know, I wasn't in her, like I wasn't her right at the time, so I can't really say what she was feeling.
Right.
But I just from what I know of my mother, it just felt like I felt sympathy or compassion. I'm not really sure which. I mean, I think it was more sympathy um, for her going through life in that way. You know, again, I wouldn't characterize my mom's life as a life of suffering at all. Like, I love that part of this whole thing, that and neither was she. Neither would she. Um, and yet, knowing what that feels like, you know, um, that, you know, feeling shame, feeling insecure, not feeling like you can constantly, like you can go toward joy and enjoyment without protecting yourself from, oh, here's the incoming doom and impending doom and struggle or whatever. Um, and not to mention the outside forces, people around her that were validating, affirming that messaging,
Absolutely.
by the way, like telling her that she should be ashamed of herself and she's not enough, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just felt really bad about it, because of the way I was feeling, the way I've been feeling that sensation in my body. I can't like imagine carrying that, but then I guess maybe I have, but like it was just like being able to, like, carrying that with all these people telling you that on top of what you're telling yourself, right? So so that was like, something that I was it's just been very weepy. Been a very weepy week and a half. um I don't mind crying.
Good.
I like going to cry. It provides me a relief. Um, and I do have a sense that getting to this point of like better and better clarity is something that I feel maybe aligns with that intention of physical loss turning into spiritual gain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, and there's also these thoughts that I
Do you
have.
mean in terms of a closer connection with your mom and who she is and her experience? Is that what you mean?
I think more so in terms of like ending this in our family line.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of having this recognition that I've normalized this way of being, or this aspect of my being, because it's not my total being.
Yeah.
But this aspect, like just normalizing that, stopping that, like
Yeah.
really um, creating a new normal.
And what are just some broad brushstrokes of that new normal?
Um, Inner peace.
Okay.
Enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. Enthusiasm. Um, lightness. Lightness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, expansion. Openness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, freedom. Right? Freedom.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how to describe this, but maybe you can help me. Um, I think since 2022, and then definitely after my mom passed, um, before now maybe I just wasn't conscious of it, but it didn't feel like this, right? If I were to get a text to meet up with a loved one, right? I'd be like, okay, yes or no, whether I'm available or not. I didn't feel any tension, activation, stress, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, oh, okay. My grandfather reaches out. It was like, okay. Um, that is not the case these days. These days, it produces stress. I get that sensation again. Um, I go into calculating, like I don't know how I'm gonna fare, so I don't know if I want to make that commitment. Um, it just feels like so that's what I say lightness. I don't know if there's another way of saying the opposite of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I like for it to be just like
Well,
inconsequential,
yeah, you have. Well, from what you listed
neutral,
before. Hmm?
neutral at
Yeah.
least, you know?
Well, from what you were listing before, you're well on your way to articulating a shiny, clear intention or some shiny, clear intentions for how you want to be, which is critical, as you well know, to have them shiny, clear at the ready to be able to just grow that muscle and make it the new normal. That's just everyday practice. So
Yes.
go go ahead.
Yeah. Um, and I feel like um, this recent experience in the last week and a half is encouraging me, pushing me toward really prioritizing this in my life right now.
Yeah, good.
Um, um, because I don't like nor do I need that sensation, that
Yeah.
feeling, that experience
Well,
of, you know,
so now that we know what it's rooted in, the belief that it's rooted in, are there other beliefs that go along with happiness leads to doom and struggle? Does it have brothers and sisters and cousins?
yeah, not enough, not enough. I'm not enough. I don't have enough time. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
enough energy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't trust myself. I can't trust the
So
universe.
some of this is not new
No, no.
in terms of beliefs that
It's
we
taken on
become
a little different
conscious.
face.
Hmm?
It's taken on a slightly different face.
Yeah. But this one specific one, happiness leads to doom and struggle, seems pretty foundational. So I'm bringing this up to offer the uh, unwavering suggestion to be doing some tapping on each of these beliefs. And again, some of them that you just mentioned are not new. We've worked
No,
together
we've
for a
done them
while,
before.
and
Mhm.
they're not as charged today as they've been in the past.
Mhm.
However, this new one, happiness leads to doom and struggle, I think that's where the juice is right now. And I
Yeah.
would just be tapping on that specific belief and mixing that in with a little bit more. Let's keep going with the unconscious resistance
Yes.
tapping. Because
Yes.
that's, if you ask me, that's a direct line to this now to your now being conscious of a belief you've been carrying around for a few decades
Yeah.
that actually is rationale for resisting your life. Of course, I'm going to resist my life if I know it's going to lead to doom and struggle and strife and tension.
Mm-hmm.
That seems and feels pretty huge to me at the moment.
Yeah, and especially like, beliefs matter. So there's this almost like those past memories that give evidence
Mm-hmm.
that prove this belief are just so loud.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're
Well,
so freaking loud. I'm like, oh my God. Like even this is how it can get. Even my trying to come up with an intention that's the opposite of that, or can, speak to this issue,
mm-hmm.
can bring up the anxiety, can bring up that
Well, sure,
sensation.
but that's our typical, you're very familiar with that process. No sooner do we put our foot on the gas, intention wise, to deign to articulate something that we actually want to experience, then all the thoughts and ideas and histories we have about why that's not possible come screaming to the fore. Now, all that stuff that was mumble jumbled in there, and some of which was sub or unconscious, is now very conscious. Here's what I want. Here are the reasons that I've been carrying around why I can't have what I want. So now my job is to just keep my foot on the gas of what I want, get my other foot off the brake until one day I realize, wow, my foot doesn't even go on the brake anymore. That's just the fundamental breakdown as that you're familiar with. So good. It's good that this is coming up. That's what we want. That's
Yeah.
how it's going to happen. And
It
like
is.
I say, you've done a fair amount of this work before, but this piece feels different. And
It does. It does.
and like what's the word I'm looking for? It feels like it's deeper.
Oh yeah, no,
Thus,
this is one of
yeah, this
those.
goes way back. And
This
so
is,
that's great.
yeah,
That's just what we want to do. So I'd be starting my tapping on that right away.
absolutely. Like that is going. Now, question for you. I should keep the 20-minute unconscious subconscious resistance one
I
by
would,
itself, or
Delilah,
can I
for
like,
now.
oh,
And
okay. Okay.
and what Delilah is referring to, I think she mentioned it earlier. This was just an assignment, a suggestion, homework from about only a week and a half ago, or really even this week. We
No,
refined it, didn't we? It was
it
last
was
week.
Monday. Yeah.
Monday, yeah.
Last Monday.
So just 2 days ago, we
No,
refined
no,
it.
last Monday.
Doesn't matter. It's
Okay.
very, very recent.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that's overlap from what we're doing right here. So I'm now responding to that and saying for sure, keep that resistance tapping going. That tapping was really to help Delilah just address unconscious resistance she's having to living the life she wants to live. That all that shit that she wakes up with and carries throughout the day, enough already. She's experienced this quite enough. No more. So it's obvious that it wasn't something conscious. So the suggestion was tap on what's unconscious. And in not a long period of time, up comes this other practitioner session through which this belief comes, which to me is exactly, is a direct line to that tapping out unconscious material. And when we do that, for the record, we say, look, God and everyone, if I need to see something from all this, show it to me and I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm happy to have it just leave my system. But there's clearly, I think, something in there. So I'm just going to tap on this for some period of time, days, weeks, and see if there's a shift. So no sooner did Delilah start doing this, it really felt like there was starting to be a shift. My suggestion was double down on that. Now I'm saying continue that part, but now let's bring in the specific beliefs that you're being shown. Happiness means doom and struggle. Let's tap the F out of that. Get that out of your system. and the other ones that go with it. So tapping session with, even though I believe, or even though I've uncovered this belief from my past that I think I just inherited before I knew any better, and I've been carrying it around, that says happiness leads to doom and struggle. I am choosing here and now to release this from my system today, tomorrow, and for all time, right? Even though I have this belief. And then you're talking, happiness leads to doom. I see where it comes from. And God bless my mom. I mean, she carried this around, and we don't need this anymore. And I don't need all the other ones that come with it, like that I'm not good enough and all these other things. And you can lump them all in there and just go to town until you're just tired. What's touching you there?
Just seeing how hard it is to carry that. And I was just thinking about my mom being so young at the time, having a kid at like 19, 20. And, her immediate family at the time, not sparing her any, like they were, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're setting a bad example for your sisters. It's just like really fucked up, right? It's really shitty. And, just thinking I could see even toward the end of her life, that she still dealt with that.
Yeah.
And I guess like that's a sore spot for me. And I noticed that, like, not just in thinking about her, but that's how I can get like this when I see it in other people. Like, it's like, I'm just like, man, I know how that feels, and it's really challenging,
Well, challenges are what we're here for.
Yeah.
And I want to check myself on that. Even calling your mom's family's behavior shitty, I would really just call it old consciousness.
Yeah.
They came from belief systems.
Absolutely.
Like you and I came from belief systems.
I still love my family, right? Like, I still love them.
And I know. I'm just saying, like, even for us to be judging it, I'm catching myself with that.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I know.
We all come. We know we're going to have the experiences.
I give you that little room for judgment, Steven.
Thank you. Thank you.
I give myself a little room for judgment.
Yeah. I mean, it objectively almost. It's like, yeah, that's shitty. It's a shitty way to treat somebody in your own family, and yet when your family
shaming is not a great practice.
No, for anybody. But it's only the old consciousness that countenanced that kind of thing. We're not going to do that anymore. And so, I'm just a big fan of let's tend to what we have to tend to and move on and create what we want to create. Because there really is one big reason for all the old bullshit. It's just the whole consciousness.
Exactly.
Old ways of being, that we are living in a moment where a 2,000-year way of being is crumbling, dying, almost dead, and a new one's being born. That's just why we came here, to experience that. So it's really tremendous to be able to see what's holding me back. That's the question we were asking. That's what that whole project was about. It's like, there must be something unconscious in my system. Can I please find what it is so that I don't carry it around anymore, and I can live the life I want to live, and here it is. Here's at least one big major root. So I'm always looking for what are the beliefs, because the beliefs are the root of the issue. We're not cutting the weed off at the top and it looks great for a day or two and then it just comes back. We are pulling the issue up from the root, and the way we do that in our human experiences is by belief. Belief is the root of the issue. And so when we can see what the belief is, which Delilah can now do, and maybe that'll be the end of it, and that'll be the thing that takes everything else with it. Maybe there'll be another 1 or 2 or 5, who knows? That's why I'm suggesting keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Either new material will continue to come, or you will have exhausted it. And there's no way to know until you just live a little more life.
Yes.
Does that resonate as the logical
Oh yeah,
next?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I sense that this is where we would go
Good.
with this. A couple of other things came up in around in the same realm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one, so another belief that was kind of messing with me here, not kind of, it was messing with me, is that I don't have enough time to take my time.
Right.
And that is another belief that I inherited from my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I say that because she would always say to me, um, Delilah, los años se pasan, the years pass, you got to make the most of it, you know? Um, and I realized how much that affected me, and like that would look like my shoulding all over my life. So
Right.
like we've had a couple of sessions. I'm not sure if it was here, but maybe we brought it up in these sessions. But this whole idea of like I can't afford a bad day, like I can't afford like all these things. And then on top of that, another thing that I felt like I inherited was the if I don't do these things now, I don't trust myself to do them later when I feel like I could want to may want to do them. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like doing them right now, but I need to do it right now because I don't trust myself to not do them. And there was that I saw from her. I gleaned from her, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And she would always, and I remember always feeling like I hate when she says that to me because it just makes me feel like I'm not living my best life, right? Like,
So there's another belief. The meaning that we make of what somebody else says, I'm not living my best life. You don't challenge that for a little while, and then that starts to. So that's like a belief on top of the other belief.
yeah, like she would sort of insinuate like, hey, you're not taking advantage of this opportunity that you have, right? And I'm like, yeah, because I don't really feel like doing it, or I'm not in the mood or whatever. And she's like, I mean, never pressure, right? Like she didn't say like, oh, you need to do it, girl. Like, but she would always just like, insert the like, los años se pasan, the years go by. The years go by, and it's just like, oh my gosh, what is the oh, fear of missing out, right? That
FOMO.
yeah, that's along those lines, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I noticed that how that's affected me, because it's like I feel like, you know, let's say for my birthday, right? Like it's always been a source of stress for me because now I'm realizing that it's like I feel like I should do something special because you don't know how long you have, right? Like this, like, this messaging that I should make this special. But it's like, this is my birthday and I should do whatever the fuck I feel like doing. But you see what I mean? It's like this pressure of like living your best life because the time is running out, essentially, right?
So
So that,
this is another moment where being the spiritual workout guy is very, very different from being the psychotherapist guy, because psychotherapy addresses that however it does. Spirituality addresses it from the perspective of the being part of the human beings we are, which is timeless, 100% timeless. So the being part of the human beings we are is not connected to time in any way, shape, or form the way the human part of us is. Time is a very
Yes.
convenient
Yes.
tool, right?
Yes.
And yet the being part of us, the whole reason that spiritual workout exists, what does the everyday stuff in your life look like from the perspective of the being part of the human being that you are? That's the whole point. That part of us, timeless, doesn't really give a shit about FOMO, time running out, because it knows that's all, that
Thank you.
doesn't make any
This
sense.
is good. This is good. Let me put a little pin on it right now because somebody just
Yes.
knocked on my door and
Okay.
we're live, folks. We are live. This is
Oh, you're going
proof.
to leave me here by myself. Thanks.
I'm so sorry.
My all-time least favorite thing in the world, to be
Okay, I'm back.
on camera by myself with.
And everybody sees my mess. Okay, we are live, folks. Yeah, I don't know.
I promise you I did not do any entertainment while you were gone.
No, but this is, thank you for bringing up that perspective, because that's been irking me, and I think it's another layer to this way of being,
Well, right.
or this aspect of my way of being.
Yes, and another part of your soul work then, and you're already doing it, but let's just get it down where you can see it, are the beliefs you have about time. You've articulated them fairly well, but let's just get them out there. Add that to your dump list to be tapping on, along with the other ones that we've talked about.
The main one is that I don't have time to take my time.
Yeah.
That's the big.
And that came out the other day. When we were
yes.
talking.
That came up, I think, like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like very clear when I said it. I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
that's it. That's a
I
big."
remember, yeah. Even when I just wrote it down, I'm like, I just wrote this down very recently.
Yeah, no, that one was like a very big, and I realized this past week and a half while I was going through this, how that my mom's influence in that belief, you know?
Yeah.
Again, this is not blaming my mom.
It doesn't look. How do we acquire beliefs? I don't really care a whole lot because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's sometimes a curiosity. Boy, I wish I knew where that came from. Oftentimes it's very obvious. Oh yeah, that's my grandmother. That's my mother. I just swallowed it whole. Mm-hmm. Money doesn't grow on trees. Men are fill in the blank. Whatever it is. So sometimes we swallow beliefs whole. That's one of the ways we get them, all of us. Other times we're 4, 5, 3, 8 years old. Something happens, something keeps happening, and we form a conclusion. We don't ask anybody. Mommy and daddy fight all the time. Oh, marriage must be hard. Mm-hmm. I'm 4, and I've taken on a belief marriage is hard without anybody knowing that that's what I've done. Now I'm 24 and 34 and 44, and why am I having such shitty, awful, terrible relationships?
Exactly.
Well, because I believe they're hard and trying and awful and terrible, because that's just the conclusion I made. So whether it's because we make a conclusion without knowing what we're doing, whether it's because we swallow it whole, whether it's because we just inherit it in our DNA and it gets activated somewhere somehow. All that matters is when we are not enjoying life, when it is other than what we would like to experience, look at the beliefs that we must have that are creating the experience, because that's the root of it all the time. Everybody wants to make it a lot more complicated, but it ain't.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was another piece that I was just like, oh, okay, I see how it's like a time and living a fulfilling life, like fulfillment, time and fulfillment, and like it being a stressor, like shooting all over my life, how much I can go into that. And I seen, it just became very clear, much clearer to me how that type of messaging affected me, with like my relationship with time and life fulfillment, Um, so, those are like two very big ones there. Um, I will say too that um, one thing I do notice about this, like now, more than a year and a half after my mom's passing, one thing I am noticing is that I'm still like learning new things about my mother,
Yeah.
you know, um, that are kind of funny, actually. So, for example, she would always, my mom was very gentle. She was never like, miscritical, like, and telling me, like, criticizing me. She was always very gentle because she had a very heavy
Yeah.
feedback from her loved ones, So she was always very conscious of treating me well. You know what I mean? And not giving me that type of criticism. Definitely
Mhm.
not trying to shame me. Um, and one thing that she would always say when she would come to my house, to my place, is she would just like come over and say, "You have a lot of stuff." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I mean, I guess I did, but it was always contained in its space kind of thing. So I was like, "Ma, what are you talking about? Like, why do you always keep saying that?" Like you have like she would just be like, not harshly, she didn't want to come down too hard, but she would just always try to be like hint at, not so subtle, but subtle. You have a lot of stuff, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? So I never really like understood what she was saying, but especially after she passed, like I brought quite a bit of
More
things to my
stuff.
house, more stuff to the house, and I'm doing the best I can, to fit because I could leave quite a bit of thing. I have left quite a bit of things, over at her old place, now my father's place. Um, but I didn't want to leave like, some of these more personal things over there, being that it's like my father and his girlfriend, his partner. Um, and ever since then, I've just been feeling like, okay, it's a little cramped in here. And I was just like trying to find ways to like optimize the space. Like, how can I better use this space to store my things? Like, maybe, and so I came across this like app where you just take a photo of the living room.
Oh, you told me about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you take a photo of the living room, and then they give you ideas of how you can rearrange the room,
Mhm.
edit, declutter, that kind of thing. And when I saw their reimagining of the living room, and I saw the before, you have like this option to click before after. It's like toggling between the two, and I was like, oh my god, I do have a lot of stuff. Like I was just like, oh, okay. My mom
That's
was
what she
right
means.
there. I was like, oh, I see now what she means, Like it just kind of like it's so like I feel like I'm like learning new things about her, It
Mhm.
kind of like brings me back to what I brought here in the beginning of the year when I had these dreams. And it like I felt like these were like message dreams where she was
Mhm.
telling me like, "Hey, if you're not feeling something," because this is how she was, and I never could quite understand. Like, this person is fine. Like, why are you tripping over like not wanting to see anybody? And she was like, "Oh my God, stop it!" And then I had this dream, very vivid, but it wasn't so far from how she kind of was in real life sometimes, right? Where she was like, I just don't want to do this. I don't want, so leave me alone. um, and it just made me understand her better, those dreams, as well as myself.
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Like it made me understand, like,
that's the way
hey,
it
I don't
goes.
have to give an explanation if I'm not feeling something, you know? I don't have to
Hmm.
give an explanation.
Right.
I am just not feeling it. I'm not gonna do it. You know what I mean? Um, so there's been quite a few of those instances as well, where like these like funny surprises, like, oh, my mom was I do have a lot of stuff. So that was like really interesting. Um, Today, so I follow this public health doctor. Um, and she had recently posted that her mother had um, died of cancer, a very rare form of aggressive type of cancer. I forgot the name, but um, and that after her diagnosis, it was just like a month after her diagnosis that she
Mm.
passed, right? And I saw the post, and she said that she wrote a piece about it on Substack, right? So I saw this last week, the
Hmm.
post, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna read the piece. I really like her, and it was just really interesting to me that she experienced what I experienced 2 years ago, right?
Mm.
Um, and so today, I I remembered to like read the piece, and I didn't finish it because I had to go somewhere. But wow, her telling her story of her mom, no big medical history of illness, a lot of energy, very happy, very optimistic woman.
Mm.
Um, um, just like just one night, she started having these like pains in her abdomen. She went to the emergency room and they saw a mass in like near her liver. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? And then they talked about, she went and got like 3 biopsies, and they said that it could be a benign tumor or it could be this very rare aggressive form of cancer. And it turned out to be this very rare aggressive form of cancer. Her mom was still upbeat and all of these things. And I just got to the point where they talked about going into treatment, chemotherapy, and that it just was like worst case scenarios every step of the way, right? And describing the things that my mom went through. Steven, I don't know if this is calendar again or whatever it is, but I guess maybe, and we talked about this in our last session because I took a look at it
Hmm.
the other day, and we talked about this in the last session about how someone putting words or voicing the experience
Hmm.
can really have that
That's what I was
impact.
just gonna say. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. Because oh boy, Delilah was bawling in the cab. Like I was just like, what? Because she was describing every freaking thing that like pretty much happened with my mom, right?
Hmm.
And I was, and when she said that when she saw her mom's face before the first treatment, going to the first treatment, and that was the first time that she saw her mom really nervous, and that how heartbreaking it was to see her mother like that. And it was just like, damn, that was a really sad time for me. Um, and one thing that I failed to mention was I went to go see a new physical therapist slash personal trainer to help me do weightlifting on my lower body. And she's on like Water Street, which is the financial district in downtown Manhattan. And my mom worked for over 20 years on Water Street. And I didn't, again, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm going to go to Water Street and I'm going to feel like all this thing. I was just like, oh, wow, it's Water Street. Like, that's where my mom worked, right?
Right.
But when I got there last week, oh my goodness, it was like that heaviness again. Because frankly, I think the last time that I was there was the time that she had received her diagnosis, official diagnosis, and we decided to go to her job to
Oh,
pick
yeah.
up some of her things. I mean, it was probably the saddest day of my life. Probably the saddest day. Um, because we had just received that diagnosis. My brother, my mom and I went to have lunch right afterwards. And it was just, shock and sadness and all of that mixed up. I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is a terrible feeling. And then we were like, let's just go to your job, and pick up your stuff. And we saw some of her coworkers, one of which gave her a hug. And she was like, oh my God, I really needed that. Oh, and I was just like meeting these coworkers and they were like, they didn't have any clue about what was happening.
Right.
And so I had to like, I was just like, hi. And it was just the saddest shit ever for me. And that came up when I went to Water Street that day. It didn't happen yesterday. Yay. When I went to Water Street to the session. Um, but I was just like, reading that piece today, just part of it, going to Water Street last week. And I was just thinking, this particular experience of a loved one receiving a diagnosis and dying within a matter of months, a month, 2, 3 months. That's what I'm kind of looking at, like a 3-month period. It's such a particular experience.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just, as you mentioned earlier on in this session, I think I'm just like starting to feel some things that I possibly couldn't feel back then.
Good. Then do it now.
Yeah.
It's never too late, and there are no
I mean, I
demerits.
believe that that's what's happening.
Yeah. Well, that makes logical sense. That's the whole point of it making itself known again, so that you can now process it in a way that you couldn't 2 years ago. And you have more room, time, and space to do it, and a greater ability in the moment to go deep emotionally.
Yeah.
Compared to 2 years ago.
Yeah. It's just too much going on back then. And now there's a little bit more space for it, capacity for it,
Right.
possibly. In your experience dealing, I don't think I'm the only one that that has gone through this particular type of experience of losing a loved one, like
No,
within
you're
a
not.
matter, like from diagnosis to like just 3 months max. Do you see any common threads?
Not in that way, no. 3 months, 7 months, year and a half, those might be different than, oh, it went on for 5 years, went on for 10 years. That caring for experience is obviously utterly, completely different for the
Yeah, because this
person.
was like you had to make really fast decisions.
Yeah. So it's both there's less to do 2 years later than for some other scenarios. Like I said, the ones that go on much longer, right? But, then that just boils down to we're having the experiences we came to have, whether it's, so I've experienced sudden death, like boom, here today, gone today, just what happened? The quasi shorter version that you're talking about. Wow, not a whole lot of time from everything's fine to a diagnosis to a death.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I mean for people in that category, processing wise, when I work with people, there's less to do and it just takes less time than somebody who's had. But like if I were doing in a bereavement group, I wouldn't separate people out that way.
Okay.
I wouldn't say, here are the people who've, lost somebody through illness and it was a 3 month or less window.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I had I feel no compelling reason to do that because I don't think it's fundamentally still going to be that much of a difference. The bigger variable is going to be the variable that each individual is and takes with them. Who am I? How is this affecting me, regardless of the particulars of how it happened?
Okay.
That's going to be much more interesting and compelling to me as in working with somebody than the time that went by.
Okay.
From in this case, a diagnosis of an illness to dying from the illness.
Yes. I say that because I ask that about that because I was wondering if the way I describe it, like obviously sudden death is another way to feel this, but like it's like that feeling kind of blindsided by it, and wondering if people can come out of that having to work out pessimistic attitudes, like anything in life can happen, and a lot of times, many times it cannot be what you want to happen.
I think so. I've reached for some concepts as you're talking because to me, if I haven't already lost the thread, somebody who is practiced in living present in the present, somebody who is practiced in non-judgment, which is incorporated in being present, accepting things as they are without judgment, somebody who is cognizant about beliefs and how they matter, is far less likely to ever be blindsided by anything. There's nothing wrong with the experience of being blindsided, but it's obvious to me that the more practiced we are at spiritual being, human experience, timeless souls here to have experiences, we don't call the experiences tragic, awful, terrible, bad. They might be on some level, but that's not what we invest our precious time and energy animating, right? We're much more willing to accept the reality as it is, even if it was a different reality yesterday than it is today. I'm not saying, varying levels of contending with life's challenges. That's what this whole practice is about, is getting better and better at doing that in general, so that if, as and when life unfolds and experiences come to us, we respond differently than we might have before, with a little more practice in these very concepts of acceptance, non-judgment, beliefs matter, and intention. What do we want? So people come to me for quote unquote grief and loss. And, once we get through our initial conversation, tell me more about who you are, what's going on, what's this like just for you, et cetera, et cetera. For me, it's no different than anybody else with any other issue. Okay, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
Bringing intention into it. We did this in our first session or two, right? And so, that's why I'm just such a proponent of this practice, because I just see so clearly. First, I'm my first client, right, in my own life and the lives of so many people over a few decades now, that, when somebody's been around for a while, and I think you've seen some of these people, it's like, oh yeah, I've been coming to spiritual workout for some years now. And I know that the thing that happened yesterday that I'm telling you about now, I would have not done this way 5 years ago before coming to this practice. So that's music to my ears. That's evidence of somebody's transformation, of somebody's change in how they not just react to life, but respond to it. Because fundamentally, every spiritual teaching that you ever see will tell you somewhere, it doesn't matter what happens. Stuff's always happening. We come here to experience happenings. All that ever fundamentally matters is how we respond to what happens. This practice helps us to respond in ways that don't take us out. That book that you held up when we started was my challenging myself in the wake of the experience of losing my partner, to respond in a different way.
Yeah.
It was my own test. When that happened, spiritual workout didn't exist. It was just starting to formulate as an idea, as a mechanism to take my work out of private practice psychotherapy into something else. So it was brewing, but the work was already being done. I was already steeped in these concepts. I was already working this way in my private practice for a good 10 years, So when my partner died, that was sort of a test for me. I even say it in the book somewhere. It's like, okay, hotshot, what are you going to do now? Mr. Beliefs guy, Mr. Be Present guy, Mr. Judgment Separatist guy. Now what?
Yeah.
So being blindsided, okay, but I guarantee you 5 years from now, being blindsided is not going to seem and look and feel to you the way it does today.
Yeah. And frankly, I'm already experiencing that, the difference,
Good.
as a result. Well, one last thing that I'd like to do before we go is if we can maybe do a little bit of tapping on the happiness leads to doom and struggle.
Okay.
And then I could be sent on my merry way.
Sure. All right.
Just so like I could get into the, build momentum there.
Absolutely. And
reminding you. So everyone else who's watching what this is like. So this is a fun whole belief, by the way, guys.
Say
This is
again?
a very fundamental, foundational type of,
Newly discovered,
yes, yes.
newly made aware of. Reminding you to uncross your legs, feet, ankles, karate chop. So even though I've recently become conscious
Even though I've recently become conscious
of an unconscious belief that I've carried,
of an unconscious belief that I carried,
wherein I came to believe
wherein I came to believe
that happiness leads to doom and struggle,
that happiness leads to doom and struggle,
I love and accept myself completely.
I love and accept myself completely.
Even though when I was very young,
Even though when I was very young,
I formed a belief that happiness leads to doom and struggle,
that happiness leads to doom and struggle
for very good reasons.
for very good reasons.
I'm choosing here now,
Whew, I'm choosing here and now.
now that I'm conscious of this belief,
Now that I'm conscious of this belief,
to do everything I can to discreate it
to do everything I can to discreate it
and live the life I want to live.
and live the life that I want to live.
Even though life led me to conclude
Even though life led me to conclude
when I was very young
when I was very young
that happiness leads to doom and struggle,
that happiness leads to doom and struggle,
I'm choosing here now
I'm choosing here and now
to do what I can to discreate this belief.
to do what I can to discreate this belief.
Eyebrow. I'm actually grateful to be conscious of this previously unconscious belief.
I'm actually happy to discover this,
Be conscious of.
to be conscious of this belief that I wasn't conscious of.
Sides of the eyes. I've been on purpose shifting energy
I've been on purpose shifting energy
under the eyes and seeking an answer to,
and seeking an answer to,
under the nose, the question of whether or not I'm carrying unconscious resistance.
the question now whether I'm carrying unconscious resistance.
And chin, and not long into the process of tapping on unconscious resistance,
And not long into the process of tapping on unconscious resistance,
collarbone, zip zap zoom, I'm now aware of a belief that I've been carrying
I'm now aware of the belief that I'm carrying
under the arm with the help of another practitioner,
with the help of another practitioner,
top of the head, that just says happiness leads to doom and struggle.
that says happiness leads to doom and struggle.
Eyebrow. Our conversation earlier means that I know where this belief came from.
Our conversation earlier means that I know where this belief came from.
Sides of the eyes. And now all I have to do is discreate it.
And now all I have to do is just create it
Under the eyes. So that I can go about living the life I want to live.
go about living the life that I want to live.
Under the nose. And know that the pursuit of happiness,
I know that the pursuit of happiness
the chin, leads to happiness.
leads to happiness.
Collarbone. I'm going to teach myself that the pursuit of happiness,
I'm going to teach myself that the pursuit of happiness
under the arm, leads to happiness.
leads to happiness.
But for right now, I'm going to focus on the belief that says otherwise.
But for right now, I'm just going to focus on the belief that says otherwise.
The belief that says happiness actually leads to doom and struggle.
The belief that happiness leads to doom and struggle.
Eyebrow. And I'm just going to ask every part of my system to let it go.
And I'm just going to ask every part of my system to let it go.
Sides of the eyes. Let it go.
Let it go.
Under the eyes. Let it go.
Let it go.
Collarbone. Wherever it came from.
Wherever it came from.
However far back it goes in my life and my lineage.
However far back it goes in my life and in my lineage.
Why ever I chose this experience.
Why ever I chose this experience.
It is good.
It is good.
It is time.
It is time.
It is safe to let it go now.
It is safe to let it go now.
Let it go now.
Let it go now.
Good. Deep breath in wrist. Peace.
Peace.
For those tapping professionals out there, that was a melding of the two forms of tapping that we use. Thoughts, feelings?
When you said the pursuit of happiness leads to happiness, that I felt something there.
Like a
Like
little move.
a good, yeah, like a good click.
Good.
You know? Yeah.
I sense that, and normally we might just have then gone right into it, but I also wanted to leave you with something that you can do after this call. So one way in is the way we went in, even though I have this belief and blah, 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 blah. The other way, just very general, this belief and everything like it, let it go, let it go, let it go, whatever it is. That'll be helpful. The last way that I would do it, not last in order, but just another way, is just, even though I have this belief, I'm endeavoring to discreate it, even though I have this belief that happiness leads to doom and struggle, and then repeat it over and over again.
I need it. Thank you. Because that was one of the things that I was going to say. And then you said just create it. Because I was like, I want to believe in transformation.
Well, yeah.
I want to believe that I can discreate this belief.
You can.
And I know I can. I know I can, but it feels right, rocky, and that's what we're tapping.
Yes. So depending on where you are in the moment and what feels best of the different approaches, but the conscious awareness of it is usually enough for it to really dissipate. But sometimes it's just like, oh God, I got to spend some time on this. It's fine. So that's where the tap the F out of it method.
Yes.
Where I'm just like, happiness leads to doom and struggle. Happiness leads to doom and struggle. Don't force yourself to say that. Go that route when that's what you're really believing in that moment. And you may never believe it that hard again. You might not. Don't try to. But if you find yourself like, wow, I had that whole conversation and now I'm back to square one with this belief and it feels like it's so true and nothing else is ever going to be true, that's when you do that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that both of those things were good. So I definitely feel like I need to work out the discreating because it's really strong.
So then just repeat it over and over again while you're tapping the padded room. It'll snap at some point. You won't want to say it anymore. It'll feel so untrue. Because it is. It's true for you. It has been true for you, but it's not capital T true in the world. If it were, it won't leave you. It won't shift. You wouldn't be able to even get that little nugget that we had in there and then went right back to the other. Perfect. I just wanted to do that for you. You were wanting to, we're closing down.
Oh yeah, no, I love that. No, this is great.
Give you a clean read.
This is what I wanted to do so that I can go on my merry way.
Check with me anytime and we can fine tune that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Steven, once again, for really being the master facilitator here of this Unconventional Wisdom on Grief and Loss, spiritual workout founder here, creator. I really appreciate all this 32 sessions that we've had since we started. This has been really great. And as we've mentioned earlier on, we hold these sessions as needed. So, it's not like a once every week or anything like that. So just stay tuned. We'll send out some announcements. If you subscribe to the channel, then you'll get the notifications. You can sign up to get notifications for when we actually hold these sessions. I don't think this will be our last one. So, but I don't think that we're going to go right into it next week. But who knows? We'll see. Open
Remain
here.
on standby.
Open here. And I also attend the general regular spiritual workout offerings. We have the spiritual workout drop-in that takes place every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. No, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. The EFT tapping, which you just saw a bit of. There's a clinic that is held every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and then our intention setting clinic every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Those are every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, unless said otherwise.
With very few exceptions.
Very few exceptions. So feel free to check that out. Because
$50 a month.
$50 a month to be a member, and you have access to every single offering for the month. And
all the recordings.
Yeah, all the recordings and everything. So that's where you'll find me sometimes when
you'll find me every time.
Yeah, you'll find Steven every time, and you'll find me at many times as we work stuff out. Thank you so much once again, Steven. Thank you to everyone who joined us. We will see you the next time. Bye.
Thank you.